Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the Nutrition Detective around these here YouTube parts. And I know for those of you who are here live, able to make it live, this was not our normal day, not our normal time, not our normal day, but we're still going to get in one every week. I'm not going to miss a week. So we're going to keep up our 4+ year streak at 52 weeks a year, 248. Yeah, so we're 40 weeks into the potential fifth year of not missing a week. So yeah, I wasn't going to miss it this week. It was, stuff's been going on. There's been a lot of stuff going on, energetically and otherwise. So here we are. So that we have some really cool topics today. I trimmed down the topics today. I was a little burnt from multiple 4-hour live streams. Who else does that like I do? I don't know, but I was a little burned out from the 4-hour live streams, and I wanted to make today. We're doing Q&A today after the main stuff. So if you guys come on and you want to ask questions or you got super chats or whatever, go ahead and post them in the live chat. I do have a couple topics to go over first. Many of you have seen the title of this with gray hair, and nickel is the thing that no one's talked about. So as we normally do, oh, Joe, I didn't share my screen. Let me do that. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So now that I have shared this screen, Joe's going to post the link. This is our references doc. We got the testimonials document in here, and we got all the topics we're going to go over today. Actually, first thing we were going to go over is, you guys, like, the etymology or the derivation of where words comes from is kind of an important thing. Some people really, really get into it, and it does seem to shed a lot of light on things. And one of the first things I wanted to go over was, I first got curious and I did a little chat GPT search on this to see, like, where did the word nickel come from? And and then Joe did a bit more fancy AI search on it of the same topic, and it came up with the same things. But we're going to go over this. I want you to understand that this nickel problem. Well, let me tell you what happened on some of the last live streams that we did on nickel. First, we had bots come into the live chat. So if Joe, if you're noticing bots come into the live chat talking lots of smack, we're always welcome to, let them go off and do their own thing in bot land. But we had lots of bots kind of come and swarm into our comments. We had what else was there? Oh, I'm trying to remember. The biggest thing that happened was those of you who were watching the second nickel toxicity live stream I did, and you wanted to watch it after we aired the initial thing, and you were wondering, where did it go? Well, somehow, something that we would never do is that live stream was switched to unlisted on YouTube, which means that you could only find the live stream if you had the link. Now, I'd never take the live stream down unless I have to edit it. So something, someone, somewhere switched that live stream to unlisted. So there was some other things. Oh, on Twitter, a bunch of posts using the word nickel came out on the day that I did my first live stream on nickel toxicity. So it was like a distraction technique. They were trying to pull anybody searching for nickel. They were trying to pull people away from it. And I think there was one other thing that I can't remember. But anyway, there were very interesting things happening around this new nickel topic, which before, as we're saying, I'm coming at this from a nickel toxicity standpoint. The nickel sensitivity, the nickel allergy stuff is all just a way. It's kind of like the homeostasis, and it's all these dysregulation. It's all these words that they use to try to make you think it's not a big deal, or it's just about the balance of it. No, it's nickel toxicity. It's happening all over the place, as you'll see in the research that I keep showing, where it's not just nickel sensitive people who are having issues. And then we'll start tracing things into gray hair and obesity and even undertypes. You underweight types, nickel's a problem there too. But first I want to go into the etymology of the word nickel. So let's do this now. Let me see. Let me make it bigger. Wait, why isn't it? I need to zoom. There we go. So this document is in the, it is in the, let me do view. Can I do view full screen? I just want to see the whole thing. Whatever. Okay. So anyway, this was the AI preparation. Yeah, I do use AI to do simple stuff like this, and it came out and it was nice, so I'm going to use it. Okay. Kupfernickel. That's originally where it came from. Let's get into that. Old Nick's copper. Do you know who Old Nick is, folks? You know who Old Nick is? That's literally the devil. So, nickel is the demon's fake copper. Now, we know copper is really bad. So, how bad would the demon's fake copper be? So, anyway, you guys can read this, but they named this. So, what they found, right? They found a reddish mineral that looked like copper ore. They hauled it to their smelters, fired their furnaces, and waited for a familiar gleam of copper to emerge. It never did. Worse, the ore, now known as nickeline or nickel arsenide, so it's nickel bound to arsenic. Birds of a feather flock together, right? So nickel and copper tend to flock together, and then we've got arsenide. And then there's also a lot of sulfur around nickel. Sulfur is brimstone. That's the smell of hell. What a weird thing that all these are coming together. Nickel arsenide released poisonous arsenic fumes when heated, sickening or killing the men who worked it. Frustrated and superstitious, the miners concluded that they were being deceived by a subterranean spirit. They named the ore Kupfernickel, literally copper nickel. But nickel here was not a metal, it was a name, a folk term linked to Nick, or Old Nick, one of the many names for the devil in Germanic tradition. The ore was the devil's copper, a counterfeit, a lie embedded in stone. Now, there's references at the bottom of this document if you want to look up the references. Kupfer means copper. Nickel is from Nick, a name for the devil or a goblin trickster figure. Oh, have I mentioned that there's plenty of references in the scientific literature where they try to claim that nickel is an essential mineral? Does this sound familiar? They keep doing it. And it's like that statement is based on, I believe it's 2 mice or rat studies. 2 mice or rat studies, then they're trying to say that nickel is an essential nutrient for humans. This is how bad it gets. So, the name encodes an entire worldview in 2 words. The miners did not just merely describe a chemical disappointment. They narrated it as a moral event. Something in the earth was pretending to be something it was not. Toxic metals masquerading as essential nutrients. And that pretense had consequences: illness, death, wasted labor. So let's keep going. The Nicholas inversion. Gosh, they would never invert anything, would they? So some etymologists, so we go from saint to trickster to devil to metal. Some etymologists have noticed a second stranger thread in the word nickel. It may be a diminutive or abusive form of Nicholas, the name of one of Christianity's most beloved saints. The drift is bewildering in its precision. So it goes from Saint Nicholas, as in Santa, right, to Nick, to Old Nick, to then nickel. So interesting, right? There's some other stuff here. Water spirits. You know, this is not as great, but where the Nyx, this water spirit, disguises itself as a beautiful woman. The nickel, well, beautiful woman, like think of jewelry with nickel that irritates the skin. The nickel disguises itself as copper. And here we are, the last part, I believe. The only element named after a demon. Many chemical elements have dignified or at least neutral origins. Iron derives from Proto-Indo-European isarno, meaning holy metal or strong metal. Gold comes from ancient roots, meaning yellow or shining. Mercury is named for the Roman messenger god. Uranium takes its name from the planet Uranus, itself named for the Greek sky god. Nickel, however, may be unique in the periodic table, an element whose name is derived not from a god, a planet, a color, or a place, but from a devil or goblin figure. So now we have all the stuff about how deceptive nickel is. Nickel carries a cluster of associations that are remarkably coherent once you recognize the pattern. As in disguise, it looks like copper ore, but is not copper. Mimicry, decades of miner believed it was copper before its true nature was known. Deception, named for a spirit whose defining trait is trickery. A hidden poison contains arsenic, its fumes kill, and it's also often bound to sulfur or sulfate. Nickel sulfate is used in lots of studies. Underworld forces, it's found in mines, the chthonic realm. It is one of the most prominent minerals in the supposed core of the earth after iron. It is one of the most prominent minerals. Sulfur is down there. You got nickel is down there and iron. Okay. Underground. So you can make of that association what you want. And then we have the false Venus connection, the impersonated copper, the metal of Venus. So anyway, they talk about cobalt as in kobold, a Germanic goblin or household spirit. There's lots of studies that look at nickel and cobalt together. And they like to make nickel and cobalt implants to put into people. So, yeah. And for those of you who are into understanding the Saturnian connections, as they have the Saturnian metallurgy and the dark star connection here, I'll just leave that for deception, the defining characteristic of both Saturn and nickel. That whole Saturn worship thing that's out there. So you guys can read the rest of this. I just wanted to, and here's all the references. There's just a very interesting connection, right, between this toxic metal that almost nobody's ever heard about being a problem, or that people will kind of be like, oh yeah, nickel's bad, but nobody's doing anything about it. Oh yeah, the devil's bad. Satanism sneaking in on everything is bad, but we're just not doing anything about it. Does that sound familiar? Right? So I think that's really, really important, that etymology of that word, of that metal. So make of that what you will. I think it is extremely pertinent to what we're going over here. And I think that's going to be why they are going to resist this coming out as much as they're able to. Because, I'm just going to be here with references. So it's kind of hard to say I'm doing something that's not okay, right? So let's keep going. Let's get into the gray hair part. Okay. Gray hair, right? Everybody, I'll put it this way. Nobody has the consistent fix for gray hair. Nobody has it, or you'd know about it. Okay. The gray hair soap doesn't work. And if people get it early enough, they can often reverse it. But once it's gone a while, it's really hard to reverse, right? And everybody thinks it's copper deficiency. Okay. Well, let me first tell you that a lot of the things that are connected to nickel, divalent cations is the connection, as in minerals with a plus, metals with a +2 charge, minerals with a +2 charge. Okay. Zinc has a +2 charge. Copper has a +2 charge. Nickel has a +2 charge. Calcium has a +2 charge. Magnesium has a +2 charge. Iron has a +2 charge. Okay. So what I'm going to say is that, so when people are out there saying, well, here's what I can tell you about what we've been doing. And many of you already understand this. Oh, and just so you know, if my hair seems a little like out there, it's because I'm specifically growing it out to do my hair test. So I can see, I told you guys my theory on nickel on the hair test is, well, let me give you one quick example. We had a father tell us that his 2-year-old, who was having some issues with their they were having some issues. They decided one day they're going to have the child do the mom's low nickel diet. Child had one meal of low nickel instead of their normal oats for breakfast. Now let me say this, their sibling had their normal oats for breakfast, had no problem that day. This 2-year-old had the same breakfast as the mother, and the 2-year-old started shaking and having all sorts of other issues just from one meal going low nickel. Now, what did they do to stop it? Knowing what we know now is that taking in the toxin can stop detox, the detox problem, the dumping that was going on. They gave the child a piece of chocolate, something. Symptoms gone. Took out the nickel, got symptoms. Gave the nickel back, symptoms. Let me tell you something. Bad symptoms don't come about from missing one meal of a nutrient. Okay? Before you guys go and do a low nickel diet, if you're already doing love your liver type stuff, or you're doing my type of stuff, you are going to detox this stuff like rapidly. Like your body hates this stuff, which is an even bigger sign of how bad it is for us. You can start detoxing nickel within a meal or potentially one day, and it's not fun. A term someone used in the office hours yesterday with me was brutal. It's been brutal. And all people are doing is taking out high nickel foods. We are working on antidotes. I'm going to go over antidotes in a future episode, maybe next week. I'm getting all this. I'm getting all the data together of how these things, how people respond, and what I can, I got to establish patterns. I mean, we're trying to do science here at the speed of real life. So, I know people don't like waiting, but still think of how fast I come out with this stuff. So, but let's get into the gray hair thing. So we've had people, people will say there's like the revolutionary copper people out there who are taking obscene doses of copper, and they say things go away. Well, copper's a divalent cation. Magnesium helps so many things. Magnesium's a divalent cation. There's people out there fighting against the nickel toxicity using mega doses of zinc. Zinc's a divalent cation. There was the calcium group who were taking obscene doses of calcium. Calcium competes with nickel for absorption. So what we are seeing in a lot of these megadose people who are using things that are antagonistic to nickel, and they say it helps, but if they stop taking it, their problems come back. Do you realize that they didn't fix anything? They were just competing. They were just inhibiting. They were just antagonizing. So with what we're going to be doing, we're going to be getting rid of the nickel in the system, and we're going to be putting back in the good minerals. I've already seen signs of my need for zinc as I've been doing this detox long enough, and I'm over the hump. My need for zinc is actually going down, which is what I always wanted, right? We always wanted to not have to be able to. I mean, think about it. If magnesium antagonizes nickel and you fix your nickel problem, you won't need as much magnesium. You get rid of the nickel, you don't need as much zinc. You don't need as much calcium. You don't need as much of a lot of these good minerals that we're talking about. And then your body, you can get rid of these other ones faster. So people would say that, a copper deficiency causes gray hair. That's a crock. It's not a copper deficiency. It's that something moved into copper's place that made the hair white. Now, what have we seen on our program in people? People's hair generally gets darker. Do we give people copper? No. Do we antagonize the heck out of copper? Yeah. But what are zinc and copper both? Divalent cations that compete or antagonize nickel. So what if we find research showing that nickel is associated with white hair or gray hair or an inability to produce melanin that is dark? What if we found that? So let's go into this. Okay, now I'll highlight this. I wasn't able to highlight it, but we're going to go through this. So this is let me find the paper. Let me find the title so you guys can find it, but the link is in the references doc. Abnormal trace metals in man. Nickel. Okay. 1961. So if you guys have gray hair, I have some grays in my beard, and nobody's talked about this for 65 years, it's going to seem pretty obvious that somebody should have looked into this with what you see in this paper. Okay. Multiple papers. Let me find here. Okay. So Kikawa, Ogita, and Fujito proposed a hypothesis based on the strong affinities of melanin and its precursors for metals, that color depended upon specific metals which were transmitted as genes. Wait, what did they just say? Color of the melanin depended upon specific metals which were transmitted as genes. Wait, so are they saying that metals could be transmitted down genetic bloodlines? Are metals acting genetically? Do we know that nickel crosses the placenta? Yes. Do we know that the fetal has the similar levels of nickel as the mother? Yes. Do we know that nickel is transmitted in the breast milk? Yes. Do we know that people tend to get gray like their parents do? Yes. Does it seem to get better? Do people who had parents who had gray in their hair, if they start getting it, do they tend to be better or less gray or more gray than their parents? They tend to be more gray. We know these problems are getting worse. So what we're saying is the toxicities are handed down. That's what I'm saying. And that's what the research keeps backing up. Okay. So to back up their hypothesis, they showed that in various samples of rabbit hair, black hair contained cobalt, copper, and nickel. Yellow contained nickel, titanium, and molybdenum. Oh, sorry. Yellow contained nickel, titanium, and molybdenum. And white hair contained nickel. Okay. Experiments with melanin precursors in vitro produced white pigment with nickel, yellow with titanium, red with molybdenum and blue, and green, or red with molybdenum and blue, green, or blackish with copper, cobalt, and iron. Pay attention because it's not just rabbits. These relationships held for analyses of fish skin, bird plumage, moth wings, the eyes of fruit flies, guinea pig hair, and human hair being less definitive in the last two. Okay. Pattern held, just less definitive. Okay. They also held for anthocyanins, those are polyphenols, and carotenoids in plants and in their bulbs and seeds. Red being associated with iron, blue with molybdenum, white with nickel or copper, yellow with titanium. It is known that red hair has a high concentration of iron. Why does nickel keep coming up with white? Note here, white with nickel or copper. Wow, they can interchange for each other, right? Okay. But eyes of fruit flies, guinea pig hair, human hair, bird plumage, moth wings, fish skin. That's kind of a pattern. Not that I love patterns. Anyway, further experiments briefly reported by Kikawa are of interest. White-eyed Drosophila mutans, I believe that's a fly, white goldfish, white mice, and white rabbits absorbed nickel from an environment containing several metals, while cobalt, molybdenum, and cobalt, molybdenum, and cobalt were absorbed by brown-eyed Drosophila, red goldfish, and black mice and rabbits, respectively. White-eyed Drosophila mutants, white goldfish, white mice, and white rabbits absorbed nickel. The abnormal metals were either toxic or, in the case of mammals, were excreted in the urine. That's where nickel goes. In respect to genetic transmission, ribonucleic acid, RNA, from several sources contain nickel, as well as chromium and manganese in constant ratios. That doesn't mean it's good for us or it's necessary. Desoxyribonucleic acid can transmit at least 2 divalent cations genetically. Divalent cations, huh? And therefore, both compounds may bind metals. The affinity of nickel for human epithelial tissue, as in your skin and your gut and the outer skin of anything that has an outside or a tube on the inside, has been shown. Therefore, the evidence that nickel may play a role in pigmentation or the lack of it is quite suggestive, though indirect. Why hasn't anybody researched this? Kertész has shown that plant polyphenol oxidase, a copper enzyme, can have tyrosinase activity when the copper is replaced by cobalt, vanadium, and nickel. Copper can readily be removed, leaving the inactive apoenzyme, which is then reactivated by the metal ions. A further step determining the color of the melanin resulting from such tyrosinase activity has not been done. Likewise, mammalian tyrosinase can give up its copper by dialysis. partial activity being restored by nickel, but not by other transitional metals. Again, the color of the melanin resulting has not been reported. Nickel going in where the copper goes. So is white hair a copper deficiency, or is it that nickel has moved in? Why are we getting people to have darker hair with zinc? But yet they can still have some gray hairs, and they could be getting darker hair at the same time. I've been getting darker hair the whole time, and I've got some grays in my beard. I'm not worried about it. People like to use that against me, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's got some gray in his beard." Okay, cool. What if I just figured out the problem because of the problem that I have? Why do people not understand this? Like it is my issues that have caused me to pursue all of this. If I was perfect, I would have no reason to do this. But, haters gonna hate. That's what they're gonna do. Let me see. Was this still? Oh, yes. Other indirect evidence for Kikua's theory lies in some older work reported by Noble. A mineral mixture, composition unstated, enormously increased the intensity of pigmentation of beef-fed, nickel-deficient from our data, ambystoma larvae. Feeding of white worms to the red-bellied salamander prevented the development of the red color. Oh yeah, so these are more like the polyphenols and other stuff. But let's skip forward here. Toad larvae raised on meat became intensely dark compared to others on a vegetarian high nickel diet. Fatty foods lightened amphibian skin. If nickel is the biological factor of whiteness, these experiments fall into line. Did we just figure out gray hair, white hair? And this could be why some people, when they take gobs of copper and they displace enough nickel, and it just so happens okay, so not everybody, when I'm going to talk about obesity, not everybody gets fat from nickel. Some people might get gray hair. Like there's plenty of skinny people with fully white heads of hair. Okay. Some people have full color in their hair and they're overweight. Like these things happen in different areas of different people's bodies. They just talked about nickel being handed down genetically. Okay, so you can have your parents' issues. This is why when people say, well, where does nickel toxicity show up? Where does vitamin A toxicity show up? It shows up all over the place. It depends on your body's makeup, your weak links in the chain, what your nutrient status is, what your toxicity status is. It all fits together, okay? So, wait a second. Now, okay, so let's head into the obesity thing. So anyway, what I'm saying, folks, is if you do this, if you choose to do the low nickel diet, well, first of all, when we get into the antidotes and the things that can grab on nickel and help you get rid of it faster in the future episode. Okay. If you want to wait on doing the low nickel diet, I would highly support that until we get the other stuff going. If you want to reduce things, let me get to a super chat that I saw. Well, actually, let me move forward over here so I can see it. Yeah. So I want you to the brutality of the low nickel diet. And so I want you to understand how bad your body wants rid of this, especially, I mean, maybe white folks' bodies want to get rid of it even more, because we're already white. We got enough nickel. Let's dump it. Anyway, Soil Food Web Warrior said, changed my cookware to Home Chef, removed beans, and yes, 2 days later, brutal. Anxiety, depression, skin irritation, and metallic mouth. Feeling better now. I'm glad you're feeling better. This is the power of what we have come across, folks. Literally, the devil's copper. The devil's copper. That's what we should just call it. Nickel is the devil's copper. Your body hates this stuff. It wants rid of it. You don't have to get on a totally zero nickel intake because it's like at least the 22nd most common mineral on Earth, if not further up the chain. Different places will say, oh, it's the 7th most common transition metal on the Earth's crust, and some will say, well, it's the like 5th biggest one down in the core, which if the core exists, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I definitely don't believe NASA on anything. So why would I believe everybody else telling me what's going on the inside of the earth and dinosaurs and all? I'm just going by the science that I can see in front of me. So yeah, the nickel detox is rough. Kelsey and I were talking about the other day, and we both went into it without any protection, if you will. We didn't know what was going to happen, and I mistakenly assumed. So when you guys go on the internet and if you read about the low nickel diet and you're reading like Reddit, other places like that, and you're not seeing people having detox symptoms, that's because they're probably zinc deficient. They're probably magnesium deficient. Like they don't have the things to kick it out, and they're just doing one thing. So they're probably very slow at getting rid of it. So they don't have as big of a explosion as we do. We've been doing everything we have been doing except whole grains, beans. Some people are doing nuts and seeds. But the big things we were doing, we were emphasizing those soluble fiber foods that had a lot of nickel in them. And then there was the cookware that people were using. And then there's potentially the water thing. So if we fix these things, everything else we were doing was anti-nickel. Everything else we were doing was anti-nickel. So all of a sudden, when you go low nickel, just like Soil Food Web Warrior said, your body is like primed to dump it. And dump it, it does. And as you just heard, his symptoms, anxiety, depression, skin irritation, and metallic mouth. I was tired. I've had urinary symptoms. I've had depression. I've had like insomnia. I've had all like cycles of all these things. They come and they go, which is how we know that it's not a nutrient deficiency. Because if it's a nutrient deficiency, right, it's the same symptom and it just gets worse and you add symptoms to it. Those of you who have noticed, who have been doing this, your symptoms kind of one symptom cluster will kind of come, and then that'll shift into a different symptom cluster, and then that'll shift into a different symptom cluster. And this is, it's like what I believe is happening is it's the nickel coming out of the different areas of your body. When it comes out, when you had it stored, it's not doing as much damage. But when you let it out, like all of a sudden, where are you letting it out? In that area first. So what area is going to have the symptoms first? That area where it's coming out. That's where it will be most concentrated before it dilutes into the system. So, stomach stuff. If you're doing low nickel, you may find at times, if you're doing it without protection, low appetite, stomach aching, anxiety, those will often come together. So I'm telling you, you may want to wait. And you can always go back, folks. You can always go back to eating some oats or some beans. You're not going to lose all your progress, but if you decide you want to slow it down or stop, you can always go back. You don't have to do this yet. I've said that many times. And is this forever? Not necessarily. Let me see. Well, Brad Pass, he commented in the live chat, feeling really good on this low nickel diet, doc. I'm almost 2 weeks in. I've reduced my weight by 5 pounds. I'm not doing anything different, working out, eating 2,200 calories, more carbs than ever. Your carb problems are nickel problems. This is why when we had people, this is why I believe when we had people, let's say with diabetes or weight issues who come into the Love Your Liver program and they started doing lots of our soluble fiber sources, which are high nickel, they get they might start gaining weight or their blood sugar is not able to handle it. It wasn't the carbs, it's the nickel. So this is really it, folks. So let's get into the weight. Now, before I say this, for you undertypes, I love you. I'm the one who, tries to help you out here, right? I'm the guy who's like, you're different. And yes, you know that, and you're more sensitive, and you're a little deeper, as we say in the liver doo-doo. So you're a minority of the people. But what we see I don't have the nickel studies on this there, but in animal studies, we often see the appetite go down, and then we can see the animals start to lose a bit of weight. That's the undertype. So is all of this nickel related? Very much in my opinion. But so some people go the undertype way where they go more underweight, and some people go the overweight way, which is more people, right? That's what the majority of people are, overweight and obese in our world now. So again, remember, they're going to try to say allergy first, sensitivity, like nickel sensitivity, nickel allergy. But what do we have here? A high prevalence of nickel allergy in an overweight female population, a pilot observational analysis. So they're connecting the two. In our allergy unit, we incidentally observed that a low nickel diet prescribed for delayed allergy to nickel sulfate, again, nickel sulfate, reduced body mass index and waist circumference in overweight patients. Remember that? I think we went over this last time. After 6 months of dieting, as LeBrad Pass was just saying, same calories, he's lost 5 pounds, eating more carbs than ever, but low nickel carbs. So these people had to be nickel allergic. So it wasn't all women, mostly females, 83%, because women have more nickel sensitivity or allergy than men do, because women are slower at detoxing. There's more jewelry, there's more cosmetics, there's more, Stanley cups. Oh, stop with the Stanley cups, y'all. Oh yeah, Joe, you can share that again. Yeah, the Homa Chef, the link to the Homa Chef, the nickel-free stuff. Folks, I don't want you, fix your cookware if you can. Fix as much of your cooking stuff as you can. There's now glass air fryers out there. Literally it's glass instead of metal. So there's glass. Don't get the non-stick. Oh my goodness. But there's glass air fryers out there. You can do a crock pot instead of the Instant Pot. I know that I'm not saying not to use the Instant Pot, but I'm saying with the Instant Pot, make sure you're not cooking acidic things in it and you're not leaving the stuff in it a long time to just sit there. There's things that we're going to do. I'm going to work on a whole thing about this and put it together. Somebody was already helping me with doing a PDF on this. We'll have our own PDF book about this, and I'll get that out. We're working on it. I'm still putting it all together, but I think we figured it out. Within a month and a half is pretty good, the low nickel diet PDF that's available out there. I would highly not suggest that, because they do things like recommending organ meats, which we'll go over the research showing organs and endocrine glands, hormone glands, accumulate nickel. Do you know, here's something you guys need to know about. Why do people seem to slowly get worse on thyroid meds? And they don't seem to, well, let me just say this. The thyroid gland and the adrenal gland accumulate nickel. So if people are out there taking glandulars, Armour thyroid, Nature-throid, adrenal glands, they are literally taking nickel via that route. Now, if you're on these things already, I didn't say to just quit them. But one of the things we tend to do is we tend to help people get off of those as they choose to. They get themselves off of it. And what did I tell you earlier? Everything we do, except for some of the food choices we had, was anti-nickel. There's a reason. We're anti-copper. We're anti-vitamin A. Are copper and vitamin A still toxic? Are they still important? Yes. Is nickel a driving factor in making them worse? Yes. Would you believe I have research on that today, showing nickel makes things worse? I'm having fun. I was a little, feeling like I wasn't up for today's live stream. And now it's one of those things where you start doing it. It's like you get your kids you're like, just go do it. You'll like it. And then they go and they do it. And they're like, yeah, that was fun. And I'm kind of like, okay, now I'm having fun again. But anyway, so after 6 months of dieting, they on a low nickel diet. So look here, prevalence of nickel allergy in overweight females was 59.7% compared with a prevalence rate of 12.5% in the general population. That's 5 times higher. Gosh, do you think there's a connection? A significant reduction in BMI, body mass index, was observed in 24 out of 43 overweight females with nickel allergy after 24 weeks of a low nickel diet. Relative to baseline mean BMI decrease was 4 points. So remember, 25, what was it? Is it over 30 is obese and 25 is overweight? So somebody could go from obese to just overweight, or from overweight to normal almost with that 4-point change. And the mean decline in waist circumference was 11.7 centimeters. That's basically 4 inches, right? About 4 inches. Now, it was normal caloric. They didn't put him on a low calorie diet. They gave him a normal calorie diet, just low nickel. So if you're out there, ladies and guys, saying that I don't know what's wrong with me, I can't lose weight, no matter how low my calories go, you're probably nickel toxic. Nickel's anti-thyroid. So let's keep going. There's more research here. So we're not going to just talk about the allergic people. Now, there's interesting research out there. The Chinese seem to be doing quite a bit of research on Americans and their nickel levels and obesity. Why are the Chinese doing research on Americans to connect nickel with obesity? Gosh, do they know who to look at? Maybe. Association between urinary nickel with obesity status in adults, a cross-sectional study. Let's go down here. So this is what they found. Urinary nickel does not correlate with BMI level, but positively correlates with waist circumference. As you just saw in that other study, waist circumference and BMI came down. They're saying they're not finding just in normal people nickel correlating with BMI. There's another study that shows that it says that it does. And they're saying it does correlate with waist circumference. Urinary nickel positively correlates with BMI in white males. White nickel, remember that? Urinary nickel positively correlates with BMI in white males. So the more nickel you're peeing out, the higher your BMI as a white male. It also positively correlates with waist circumference in both white and black males. So we just saw the paper on mostly women with nickel allergy losing weight on a normal caloric diet that was low nickel. And now we have urinary nickel going up. So BMI goes up, waist circumference goes up as the urinary nickel goes up. It doesn't, notice how they're not saying it's high. Okay, you guys, if you want to, you can run urinary nickel. We have the tests now. We don't have them on the website, but if you do email us or go through the contact form or whatever, if you want to order a blood nickel test, a serum nickel test, and a urinary nickel test, now you got to know, I don't remember which one. This was kind of weird. The ladies at LabCorp, when I went to do mine, well, so let me back up one second. They're saying urinary nickel positively correlates with BMI in white males. They're not saying they had to have high nickel. They're saying they go up together. So you could still be normal in nickel in the normal range, but as it goes up, the BMI goes up. Do you understand? So they're not saying you have to be toxic like on their tests or out of range. They're just saying the higher it goes. So I did a urinary nickel test and a serum nickel test. I was normal in both, but I haven't looked at enough of the research to correlate it to some of these things. But you can do a spot test for nickel, which is just you pee once in a cup and they measure it, or you can do a 24-hour catch for nickel, which, you know, they're going to average. They're going to take one sample of that 24 hours of pee and give you one number. I think the 24-hour one is a better one. You know, it's more of a pain. It's absolutely more of a pain. But they do the urinary nickel, the 24-hour one, more for like workers who are exposed. The spot test, the single urine test, is more for like big studies like this where they want it to be cheaper. So anyway, that's that. Oh, the camera's following me around, Joe. Oh boy. Okay. Well, sorry, I haven't been looking at the camera, so yeah. So let's keep going. Oh wait, here, let's do this last one. A correlation was found between urinary nickel levels and BMI and waist circumference in adult males. Adult men, especially those already obese, may need to reduce nickel exposure. Notice they didn't say anything about nickel allergy, nickel sensitivity. They didn't say a single word about that because that's not the problem. Okay, another one. association between nickel exposure and body compositions in the United States, a population-based cross-sectional study. Again, why are the Chinese so interested in studying how fat Americans are and how much nickel they have? Do they know something we don't? Did I highlight anything? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so they looked at urine nickel and body compositions. For each 1 microgram per liter rise in urinary nickel levels at levels below the turning point, body weight increases. Pay attention here. Body weight increases. Body mass index increases. Total lean mass, as in like bones and muscles and organs, decreases. Appendicular lean mass decreases. So appendicular are like your appendages, so your arms and your legs. So they're saying the muscles, the amount of muscle and bone in your arms and legs decreases. TRF decreases. Let me go look at the abbreviations. Hold on. TRF was trunk fat. TOF is total fat. Okay, so let's go back. Trunk fat increases, total fat increases, and bone mineral content decreases. Do you know how bad that is? Okay, one of the things that generally it's been jokingly said is that if you're overweight or obese, you don't have to worry about osteoporosis because you have enough load on your bones. Okay, kind of a joke, but kind of true, because folks, if you want, especially you older ladies, if you want to maintain your bone mass, you must load your bones. Just like you wouldn't expect muscles to stay big and strong if you never use them. Well, if you don't load your bones somehow, there's no reason for them to be strong. So you must get out in the sun, lift some weights, do something that puts extra stress on your bones past standing around or especially sitting around. Okay, but this said all of their lean mass decreased and their bone mineral content decreases as they were getting fatter. You understand? So they were getting fatter and they were getting less bone density and less muscle. This is really bad. Our study demonstrates that a dose-response relationship exists between urinary nickel and body compositions with a low inflection point level of urinary nickel for the saturation effect. Dose response. The more nickel, the more problems. Okay? This is bad. Notice they didn't say anything about allergy or sensitivity. Just how much they were peeing out. And remember, peeing out more is detox. Yes. But that's not necessarily, I mean, they've got more problems. Okay? So we will keep going. Oh, and this is a fun one. So this on all these guys on social media who portray themselves as such smart longevity doctors, right? And they say, oh, your grip strength, how long you can hang on a bar and all that stuff is indicative of, longevity and other stuff like that. And I don't doubt that there's a correlation. Do I think that training your grip strength is necessarily going to make you live longer? No, that seems silly. Because most of these old people don't train their grip, so they're either doing exercise already or they're just naturally maintaining it. Well, what if there was something like nickel that could literally be shown to make people's grip strength weaker? Could we then say that nickel is bad for longevity? Nickel, grip strength, longevity, grip strength, nickel. There's already research that shows this. This is how they made this statement. So yeah, the paper, the association between blood nickel level and hand grip strength in patients undergoing maintenance hemodialysis. So these folks already have kidney problems. Where does nickel tend to exit the body the most? Through the urine, which goes through the kidneys. Nickel, people on dialysis have kidney problems. Coincidence? So they already have papers. They already have studies on this. Plasma nickel was reportedly correlated with muscular strength in non-dialysis patients. I need to look up that paper. I didn't look up that paper. So then we go to, let me check what Joe said. Hold on. So they already know in non-dialysis patients, more nickel made people weaker. Joe, I need to save this line somewhere so I can go find it in this paper. So here was what they found. After adjustment for confounding factors in multivariable models, for every 1 microgram per liter increase in nickel level, the patient's hand grip strength decreases by 2.81 kilograms. So that's basically, is that 5 pounds-ish? 2.8 times 2.2? Oh, no, that's probably more like 6. 6 pounds. And they just said it also happens in normal people, non-dialysis patients. So did we just find a fix for longevity by getting the devil's copper out? Okay, now I wanted to go over some of the stuff about detoxing nickel. Okay, we have come up with, I and others have come up with principles of detox. One of which is that women detox slower than men. That's just the way it is. Sorry, ladies. You make less bile too. That's in the research. So nickel levels in serum and urine in 5 different groups of eczema patients following oral ingestion of nickel. Okay, so one of the principles we talk about is generally the older you get, the longer you've been around to accumulate toxins. Okay? The more toxins you accumulate, the slower your detox gets. Okay, just right. Like you drive your car a ton, the engine gets dirty, it runs either slower or you have to push the gas harder to get the same speed, right? It's just not working as well. It's not as efficient. Well, you becoming less efficient, you get rid of toxins not as fast as you used to. This is the magic of youth. And this is why people who are older, it's going to take you longer to get better. So just get over it. Right? You don't get to play the sports you did when you were younger. You don't get to do lots of things that you did when you're younger. You don't get to not have hangovers because literally your detox system is slower. Your ALDH is slower and you get hangovers when you drink that you didn't used to. That's a huge example. So where's our example? Urinary excretion of nickel was found to be dependent on age, decreasing with increasing age. So they're excreting less nickel as they get older. When difference in age between the eczema groups was taken into account, the level of nickel in urine was significantly higher in the 2 atopy groups. That's the skin allergy like the eczema. So the nickel in the urine was higher in the 2 groups with eczema compared to the controls. This may indicate higher intestinal absorption of nickel in atopic skin disease. So we have a couple of things. One, as you get older, you detox slower, mostly because you're more toxic. Of course, age has something to do with it, but as we get more toxic, we detox slower. This is why we see serum retinol go up, so blood vitamin A goes up as people age. Serum copper, blood copper, goes up as people age. Why would the blood be getting higher? Because they're not getting rid of it as fast. Okay, so it's building up. And we also know that as we age, we tend to not feel as good. Well, people who think that vitamin A is good for us and people who think that copper is good for us, why would we not feel better if as we got older, we had more vitamin A in our blood and more copper in our blood? And they'll try to dance around this and make all sorts of excuses, but they're really just, it's copium. It's really sad. So I just saw new copper-infused wool socks on Instagram the other day. They're going to poison you every single which way they can, folks. So anyway, the eczema groups were dumping more nickel in their urine, but they still had problems. There are people out there who say one of the problems for nickel sensitive people or the people who respond who are nickel toxic is that they absorb more nickel through their gut because they have leaky gut. Okay. 2 big things we know cause leaky gut. One is retinoic acid. literally the supposedly active form of vitamin A. It's a chemical peel. It's dissolving your gut skin, okay? And then we have nickel. I mean, you think of what nickel does to your gut when people wear cheap jewelry, cheap nickel jewelry, and they get a skin irritation very quickly. Or the women who you get your earrings and they never heal and they're just crusty. Think of what that's doing, as they say, like your skin reflects your gut and your gut reflects your skin. So you can imagine what nickel on your ear being all crusty, that little bit. Think of what eating nickel is doing to your guts. You're eating it 2, 3, 4 times a day. So we got the vitamin A causing it, and we got the nickel causes leaky gut, and you get more vitamin A into your system and more of everything bad. So I think this is another reason why we've already gotten rid of the vitamin A problem. Oh, sorry, Joe wants me to say something again. The nickel causes leaky gut. I'll try to remember, Joe. Nickel causes leaky gut, which can cause more vitamin A and other toxins to get in. Vitamin A causes leaky gut, which can cause more nickel to get in. So if we fix both of those, we're going to be able to get rid of it a lot faster, which again, we may see some detox symptoms because we're so primed for this. So there's that. Now we have the, this is the part, this is kind of to show that literally detox causes symptoms. Okay. This is kind of fun for me. So where I can have these theories and I can go into the research and find examples of it. So 1976, wow, they knew about all this back in, I was barely born. Nickel dermatitis, nickel excretion. Nickel excretion in urine in 4 females sensitive to nickel with an intermittent, so it'd be on and off, dyshidrotic eruption, so dyshidrotic eczema. If you have dyshidrotic eczema or you know anybody with dyshidrotic eczema, it is a nickel problem. Like that is exactly a nickel problem. Was measured with flameless atomic absorption. Okay. Excretion of nickel was found to be increased in association with outbreaks of vesicles. So their skin erupted at the same time as they were peeing out more nickel. So when I talk about detox dumping, if I say when you go on a low nickel diet, you're going to start detox dumping. And you may get symptoms. They can be really rough because this nickel's coming out of your brain. It's coming out of your bones. It's coming out of your muscles. It's coming out of your ladies. It's coming out of your reproductive organs. Guys, it's coming out of yours too. And I can tell you this is, well, guys, if you have, I can tell you this from my perspective. Guys, if you have any problems down there, nickel is part of it, and low nickel will help. Absolutely. This is really exciting. And then we have the results support the idea that the chronic condition was maintained by ingestion of nickel in food. So they were saying that these women didn't wear jewelry because in the literature, they keep trying to say that like nickel allergy is just from jewelry or like skin exposure. And obviously these women weren't doing the jewelry thing. I believe that's what they're trying to say. And that the chronic condition was maintained by just food nickel. Don't obsess on the stainless steel pots and pans and water bottles. That stuff's all easy to fix. Why are people going to obsess on that? Because you can see it. You're literally looking at metal in front of you. And so it's easy for our like reptile brain to be like, oh, metal, danger, right? It's the food and the water. That's the biggest deal. I'm not saying I'm not going to use stainless steel water bottles anymore because I will, even if I was doing the right things and I was putting I'm not going to put fresh water in it every time. I'm going to leave it in my car. It's going to be out in the Tucson heat. I'm not going to do the right things that would make it, and I remember going out and getting my water bottle in my car, and if you've ever had a stainless steel water bottle, it starts to taste metallic. and I'd still drink it. Yeah, I do dumb things. Okay. So I'm just not going to have a stainless steel water bottle. That's just that. And I have the Homa Chef pots and pans here now. I'm not cooking a lot of stuff in pans right now anyway, because I'm cooking hamburgers on like ceramic plates in the toaster oven, and I'm just not cooking a lot. I'm doing my tortillas, I'm doing the refined flour breads, I'm doing like chicken. And people are like worrying about, oh, is the barbecue grill? No, stop worrying, like stop obsessing about, do the best you can with your cookware. I'm not going to change my silverware. Like, I don't even care what my silverware is made of. You have to eat. Don't make your life like, okay, in the research, one paper said that there was a very high level of hypochondriasis among nickel sensitive people. Now, you got hypochondriasis. They mean hypochondriac. People who imagine they're sick. Now, I'm not saying now doctors and researchers can be real jerks about this. And if you know that you react to something, then that's true. However, what I'm saying is if you're out there and you're going to get paranoid about everything and you're going to make it all worse in your head and you're going to become a shut-in because of this. I'm not going to become a shut-in. I'm not a shut-in. I'm going out and doing normal things. I'm worried about, I concern myself with the foods I eat and the water. I'm not going to go to a restaurant and be like, do you cook on nickel-free stainless steel? I'm not going to do that, because I read, on Reddit, and this makes sense to me, is that they were saying chefs who know they're nickel allergic or nickel sensitive touch stainless steel all day and they don't have problems. So do what you can with the cookware. Don't obsess on that. It's the literal food you're eating that is the bigger deal. And the water. Get clean water, get clean food. Gosh, have I ever said stuff like that before? And then like get some stainless steel pots and pans and maybe figure out how you're going to use your Instant Pot. You may not.
All right. Hi, everybody. We'll be back as soon as Dr. Smith is back. Let's see. My audio is working. I let him know that.
Joe. Wait.
All right. You're back.
I'm back.
You're back.
Okay.
On the air still.
There you are. Hello. Let me say hi, Joe. But anyway, so that's you are going to detox on this. You are going to dump nickel. I'm still noticing. Okay, so I need to look back at when I started this. I think I started this on like March 26th, something around there, 20th, 23rd, 26th. And so I'm like a month and a week. Yeah. Month and a week or two, maybe. So I'm still noticing some detox symptoms. And again, I'm pretty in touch with my system. And it's not done yet. So for those of you who are like, oh, I just cruised through a few weeks of symptoms, now it's all gone. It may not. There's a couple things that may be going on. Maybe you're not that toxic in nickel. But maybe if you're doing things like this is what I'm not doing. I'm not eating whole grains. I'm not eating any beans. I'm not eating nuts. I'm not eating seeds. I'm not eating chocolate. I have a very limited diet of like muscle meat, like poultry and red meat and refined flour stuff that's not fortified. White potatoes on occasion, like rice on occasion. Trader Joe's had some rice pudding that I got. Like, I'm doing some dairy, like I told you in that episode, like 500 milligrams of calcium-ish, but below 1,000 units of vitamin A a day. Like, that's my diet right now. I'm happy as a clam on it. I could literally do this for the rest of my life. And I'm not, if you're out there trying to do nickel navigator and pick all these foods, then you're going, well, I know I'm not, beans are kind of high nickel, but I looked on nickel navigator, I'm having this, and you choose to do that. Remember, if you are ingesting a certain amount of nickel, may stop your detox there. See what I'm saying? So if you start trying to game the system so you can eat things that, remember, Nickel Navigator is just an app. They took data on nickel from research studies. That's all the data they have. They don't have like your hummus from your store. They don't have your pinto beans from your store. And one of the things that's very interesting is in the data out there about copper in beans. There's some pinto bean statistic out there that said that the pinto beans had like some insane amount of copper in them. So it's probably just one sample from one place where there was tons of copper in the water that went into the soil, or somehow the copper got into the soil, or it was a measuring error. Who knows? But some people still use that and they're like, oh, pinto beans are super high in copper. And it's like, that's one measurement. Is that all of them? No. But what if that was your pinto beans? See what I'm saying? So if you're trying to do a low nickel diet and you're trying to game it through Nickel Navigator or what other people say on the internet that doesn't line up with other things, like you may hit a ceiling of your detox. You may stop at a certain point. Or if you only did a couple of things. Like when my mom starts doing the low nickel diet, like we're taking out one nickel thing that she's been doing at a time. I don't want her. Oh yeah. So Joe, yeah. And if you're going to do rice, if you're going to do white rice on this, make sure you watch the arsenic and rice preparation video, because you want to get the arsenic out of your rice if you're going to be eating rice often. Okay. So that is, don't become obsessive. If you tend to have a lot of health anxiety, I can't make that go away, but your anxiety, if you're doing the low nickel diet and you already have anxiety, it's probably going to flare. Be aware of that. So this is, or you could just wait until I come out with more information about how to have, protect yourself as you go through this. So it will be much easier. Okay. So now let's just hit on this last one of the research. So from China again, metals linked to diabetes, insights from a national cross-sectional investigation. Why is China doing so much research into nickel again? What do they know? So what I'm talking about here is how, okay, so all the things that we were working on that were toxic, that we believe we are positive are toxic before, what I'm saying now is that nickel is like the secret kingpin that makes them all worse. Okay. So what did this paper say? The results of our study indicate that there is significant association between urinary zinc. So they're peeing out more zinc and their, diabetes. So significant association between urinary zinc, chromium, and nickel. More peeing out more zinc, peeing out more chromium, peeing out more nickel, and the diabetes risk. This next sentence is the important one. The study revealed that exposure to nickel amplified the associations between zinc, chromium, and diabetes and IFG risk. What is that? IFG is impaired fasting glucose. Nickel amplified the associations. Nickel is making everything worse. So again, like when people go, well, why is Dr. Smith loosening up a little bit on the vitamin A? Because we got to have low nickel foods, and dairy just happens to be one of the lowest nickel and copper and manganese foods out there. And what people are seeing is as they go low nickel, they're tolerating vitamin A better. I'm not saying vitamin A is not a toxin. I'm saying nickel is the thing that nobody was talking about that is making everything worse. Okay, remember, it is literally the devil's copper. So copper was bad. Nickel is the devil's copper. Okay? It'd be like saying, okay, so a 22 rifle has a really small bullet, and a 44 Magnum has a much bigger bullet. They both are going to hurt you if they hit you, but one is going to cause a lot more damage. And if, let's say, you got hit by a 22 and then you got hit by a 44 in the same spot, the 44 is going to cause more damage. Okay? So, and if you didn't get hit by the 44 and you only got hit by the 22, the less toxic thing, you would be much more okay. You still got hit, but you'd be much more okay. So I want you to think of that. These things that we have gotten people better with. We've been getting people better by giving them the right divalent cations, zinc and magnesium and selenium. And then we were having them avoid the wrong ones, minimize them, get less of them, copper, manganese, that kind of stuff. And then we're getting rid of vitamin A. We're not taking rat poison vitamin D. We just didn't know about the nickel. So now we know. And now we're seeing major improvements in weeks. And just so you guys know, as some of you have already done the low nickel diet, you're noticing improvements along the way very quickly. But yes, you may still feel like complete dog crap in other ways. That's what we're seeing. That's normal, is you're improving at the same time as you may be feeling crappy from the detox. Okay, so that is that. Again, I'll just say, if you have any super chats or anything like that, you could start posting them. I'm just going to run through some testimonials because I want to. Still have lots of people doing just our good old Love Your Liver program and using our amazing products. And I wanted to go over some testimonials from that. And then we'll get into any super chats that you guys have. Okay? So you can post them now. So let's get into this. Okay. So we got 4 testimonials today. Testimonial number 1, have had consistent perioral, that's around the mouth, dermatitis since high school and inflammation in the corners of my eyes, usually brought on by allergies. Zinc and niacin salve, Joe, if you want to grab that link, got rid of it in 2 days. Will definitely be adding to the skin routine. I have a history of tretinoin use, that's Retin-A, for acne, so I plan on using it for my whole face, honestly. Okay, so just so you know, again, perioral dermatitis and inflammation in the corner of the eyes, actually I used to think that these were mainly B2 deficiency. Okay? B2 just happens to be yellow and is the main thing that turns your pee yellow after you take B2. Yellow things that we pee out a ton, I don't know. So anyway, zinc and niacin salve, got rid of it. Zinc and niacin salve, if you haven't tried it yet, is amazing. For those of you who are in mosquito season, put it on right after you get a mosquito bite. 20 minutes later, the bites are completely gone. That's my experience with it. Okay, testimonial 2, niacin long-term low-dose testimonial. So I'm going to head into this one. Folks, we have said this before. Any dose of flush niacin is helpful. 25 milligrams, that's our smallest pill. It's still better than nothing. Don't think that you're not doing anything. If you want to do Keystone Minerals, it's got 200 milligrams per pill in the Keystone Minerals with niacin. Okay? Those are great doses. If you decide you want to take the high doses, like the really therapeutic doses that are used for cholesterol and stuff like that, you can, but just don't sleep on low-dose niacin. So let's go over the low-dose testimonial. Hello, everyone. I wanted to share a little testimonial. When niacin was introduced to the LYLL program, I first tested it myself and then ordered some for my mother. It's been more than 2 years now, and she's still taking her daily 25 milligram pill. The thing is that she won't stick to any supplement if she doesn't feel the effects of it. That in itself is already a big win. Now, why is she sticking to it? Well, the main effect she reported was a lot less anxiety, especially at night, which led to better sleep. She wakes up rested and not sluggish like she used to. Whenever she doesn't take any niacin for a few days, she gets anxious and doesn't feel good. Did anyone say antidote? Maybe. My mother doesn't follow any other LYL principles, and she is part of a generation who thinks that anything sold at the supermarket is absolutely safe to consume. I've talked about those folks, and good for health. And if you have a problem with any food, it's obviously because you are the problem and not the food. Can't seem to do much about that. Lead by example, right? Absolutely. Anyways, anything I can that I can help her anyways, anything that can help her is welcome, and she is extremely grateful to have found it, and so am I. At some point, I asked her to try 2 pills at once instead of 1, so 50 instead of 25, but she won't take 2 pills. Some kind of psychological blockage, I guess. So I ordered 50 milligram pills from another brand, and she had issues with them. Can't recall exactly what they were. I think she mentioned stomach pain and a headache. Went back to the 25 milligram, and she was better. That's good enough. Thank you, Kelsey Kenny. Yes, thank you, Kelsey, for bringing my attention to Flesh Niacin. I don't know if Kelsey showed up in the chat or not. I haven't looked at the chat at all. Now, the 50 milligram pills, I don't know if those are the Cal ones, the KAL ones. But I had the Cal ones. They're tablets, I believe. And yeah, they had quite a few binders and excipients and all that crap in them. So ours has absolutely minimal. And now, just so you guys know, now in any future products we make, I'm going to be, if we have to put rice flour in them, it's going to be white rice flour instead of organic brown rice flour. So we adjust what we do based on what we learn. Okay. Testimonial 3. So this is about the Reviv mouthguard. Now, Kelsey's in the chat. Hello, Kelsey. So the Reviv thing, I'm now using the R3, the big one. That's the big boy. And just so you guys know, I was personally very hesitant to cut off the tongue tab because, you know, I'm the kind of guy, I'm like, well, if they made it this way, I'm going to leave it this way. And then I was kind of going, okay, so that tongue tab was bothering the top of my mouth. And it was causing me to not wear the mouth guard every night. And I finally went, I'd heard about other people cutting off the tongue tab, and I had just been hesitant, and I finally cut it off. And now I can wear it without any problem every night. So if you don't like the tongue tab, cut it off. Or if there's another little part of the Reviv that you want to cut off, cut it off. And if you haven't watched my Reviv episode with Ken Lever, Joe, if you want to find that link, you could watch that. And then a follow-up episode to that was the one where I went over how these toxicities and deficiencies can cause changes in the skull shape. And I think I have, hold on. Yeah, here. Does nickel cause changes in our skull? Well, here we are. I went over if you watch that other show, you can go over what a craniosynostosis is and all that, but serum nickel is associated with craniosynostosis risk, evidence from humans and mice. So yes, nickel does change the shape of your skull as well. Okay. Toxins change the shape of your skull. If we get rid of the toxins, I do not know if we can, if the body and the muscles will change the shape back by itself. We may have to do some physical work like the mouth guard. Oh, here, Joe, let me get you that. So we may have to do stuff like the Reviv mouthguard to fix it. But let me go back into this testimonial. After 5 weeks, just 5 weeks on my Get Reviv R3 mouthguard, some unexpected improvements. TMJ disorder, 90% gone. No more jaw clicking and soreness in the morning. Some retracing occurred. Lower jaw was definitely pulling on my front teeth at the start, but now the fit feels perfect. Oh, Joe, I don't have the code. We have if you want to get a Reviv mouthguard after this, we'll find the code. I'll put it in the info box. Maybe Joe can find it. There's a link to click on and a code to use that gets you 10% off. So Anyway, now the fit feels perfect. No whole body morning stiffness, more energy waking up in the morning. My head circumference is actually smaller. Does that mean U of A? My U of A large, extra large cap that used to be tight is now loose. People say I've lost weight simply looking at my face. I believe it's the upper jaw skull muscles around the temple. I believe those are the temporalis that are being released, maybe more lymphatic drainage as well. The right temple is still not as recessed, the more problematic TMJ disorder side. My eyes are opening wider vertically, naturally, less almond eyes. I've lost 2 to 3 kilograms effortlessly. Yeah, that looks right, Joe. I've lost 2 to 3 kilograms effortlessly, all the while cheating heavily on my diet around Easter celebrations, alcohol, sugar, dairy, cheese, Coke, etc. with a laughing emoji. No judging, please. You can do whatever you want. Haven't been at this weight since high school. I'm 37. As a choir master and singer, I feel less tension around my neck and vocal cords while singing. Big thanks to the big G, Garrett Smith, for these recommendations. Never a dull moment, right? We're trying to find these things. I mean, my original goal in doing all of this was to help myself, right? I wanted to help my own health problems. I figured this is the only body I get. So I could learn how to fix cars. I could learn how to fix other things. I could learn to fix all sorts of things. But this is what I get for the rest of my life. And I want to feel good. So why don't I learn how to do this? So I'm just passing on these things to you guys. And now we had the lovely Kelsey Kenny join me in this whole thing. And she brings amazing things to the table. She's one of the big antidotes for the low nickel thing. She brought my attention to it, and we'll be going over that. And both Kelsey and I got to share in the sarcastic joy of the low nickel diet at the same time. Boy, our visit when we were both on the low nickel diet was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. The first half of the week, I was feeling really bad, and the second half of the week, she was feeling really bad. So it was a rough visit, but we actually were talking about it, and good things came out of it. So let's keep going. Year 2 of Nutrition Detectives Love Your Liver. Huge improvements despite slacking and experimenting. Too long didn't read. TLDR. Platelets went from 30-ish to 77 to 106. Fasting glucose 120-ish to 108 to 95. Eczema about gone. So you see, we were still fixing eczema before the low nickel thing, but now with the low nickel thing and the low vitamin A thing, eczema, we will be the eczema champions of the world. Eczema has no chance. In year 2 of the detox, I took time off, slacked off, and had failed experiments. Fortunately, I was still very successful. That's how incredible this program is. Dr. Smith says autoimmunity is a deep toxicity. I have low platelets and low white blood cells. Before the Love Your Liver, my platelets were in the 30 to 40 range. To put it in perspective, a healthy range is 140 to 440. Doctors examined my skin for cancer, did a bone marrow biopsy, and said my immune system is destroying my platelets. The best they could do was give me immune-suppressing steroids. I declined that, and they monitored my blood count for a few months until I stopped showing up because it was a waste of time. My platelets bounced between 35 and 45. Fast forward to February 2024. I think, was yours down to 15? Were your platelets down to 15, I think? At one point, I started the low vitamin A and shortly found Dr. Smith. In March 2025, I did a blood count for the first time in years and the first year on the Love Your Liver program. It was a success. My platelet count was at 77. The doctors were worried and wanted to follow up again, but I declined and relied on the Love Your Liver program. You're improving. We're worried about you. Oh, isn't that just... Now at year 2, I'm at 106. I'm ecstatic because a fear of mine was bleeding out in an accident. Hopefully in year 3, I can finally go past 140 and be in the normal range. That's my first big victory. A small caveat is that my white blood cell count went down from the last year. I was at 3.8. Now I'm at 3.5. The healthy range is 4.8 to 10.8. This can happen. But we have the labs, but what's happening in the real world, in the actual world? But I don't get sick compared to previous years or my first LYL year. Before, when I got sick, I was sick for a long time. One time I had a cold for a whole month, and I got a cold during the summer when it was 90 degrees. Well, that's a detox dump. Now we know. But I hardly get sick now or feel like something is coming. I believe my immunity is working better despite a lower white blood cell count. This is also like when we're fixing your liver, folks. Sometimes your liver enzymes can go up a little bit for a while, and then they come back down if you're doing the right things. Okay? This happens. Might see white blood cells go down a little bit, probably because you're dumping toxicity in the system, and then they come back up. But again, your white blood cells are your cleanup system. So if you don't have as much to clean up, your white blood cells don't need to be as high as they might be used to because everybody walking around is so toxic. So my second big victory in year 2 is my metabolism. I was skinny fat since high school. And back in 2009, no one knew about metabolic dysfunction. In my physicals during my 20s, my fasting glucose was always over 120. They were stumped, but didn't care because I was young and looked healthy. I never did a fasted insulin test, but an AI estimate had me over 10, creeping up to pre-diabetes. For reference, healthy ranges for fasting glucose are between 77 to 106 and fasting insulin between 3 and 6. So I'm assuming you're saying the AI estimate was your insulin was over 10. Now in the first year of the Love Your Liver program, I was finally losing that belly fat. And at the physical, my fasting glucose was 108. Now it's at 95 and more fat is melting off. I'm finally in the healthy range of fasting glucose and will be doing a fasting insulin on myself soon in November of 2025. It was 6.4. I'm just outside the healthy range for that. For the first time in years, I have hope for my body composition because back in my 20s, every time I cut, I lost muscle and kept the fat. Every time I bulked, I gained mostly fat and plateaued quickly at the gym. This should not happen for a 20-something guy, but toxicity is the real deal. Now I'm doing a basic barbell program and I try not to flaunt myself, but I catch eyes and my husband loves the results. Awesome. Before, my metabolism was foobar and my nosebleeds lasted 30 minutes. Now both problems are healing and it's all thanks to the LYL program. Nothing, and I truly do mean nothing, has helped my blood count and my metabolism more than Dr. Smith's approach. Another autoimmunity win. I forgot I had eczema. My skin never flares up anymore like before. No more crusty eyelids, no more patchy red skin on my wrists, and no more vitiligo fears because that runs in my family. Remember when we went over nickel and white patches? White eyes on I think Drosophila. I think that's a fly. I don't know. I'm not looking at the chat for somebody to tell me. Anyway, whatever Drosophila is, I think it's an insect. I think it's a fly. Isn't that fruit fly? Maybe. I don't know. But vitiligo, I do believe now, is most likely nickel toxicity because it's about as white gets, right? The melanin is not working there. It's white. So I'm excited for year 3. I turned 35 and truly feel and look better than ever. My only health issue is balancing barbell lifts with detox as both tax the body. That's true. I can tell you though. Okay, so my buddy and I, we were going through the low nickel stuff, the low nickel detox dumping diet, whatever. And we were both like, I don't think either of us worked out for maybe 10 to 14 days because we were really feeling not good. And all of a sudden, we kind of started coming out of it. It was like we had to go back and work out. And all of a sudden our workouts, we were doing stuff like we hadn't missed a day. And I was actually going a bit harder in my workouts than I have been. So when you see the stuff that nickel does to hormones, you'll understand because nickel absolutely ruins hormones. Just a quick note, one of my experiences was peptides. That's a deep dive for another day, but the gist is detox is much better, much better in my experience. With the LYL, I'm treating the root cause, while with peptides, I'm spending money and never treating the root cause. I felt like I was playing whack-a-mole, but they have their value. They might. I only mention this just to show the power of this LYL program. I look forward to year 3. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Bye now. Well, thank you very much for those testimonials, everyone. Again, for those of you who don't know, the testimonials are inside the Love Your Liver program. We collect them. We put them out for me to use. We don't put people's names or initials on them, so we don't ever get into privacy concerns, HIPAA concerns, all of that stuff. But you can, if you want to search for these testimonials in the Love Your Liver program, if you're a member, you can put in, parts of a sentence and see if you can find it. It should be pretty easy. So again, this is what we've been doing with the Love Your Liver program until now. So for those, there would be those out there who would say the Love Your Liver program, if I'm going over this nickel toxicity, all of a sudden that discredits everything we did before. It doesn't discredit anything we did before. We just figured out how to make it better. And now the results, once we have the antidotes and the helper compounds in place for the low nickel diet, things are going to go unbelievably fast, and there will be a lot less suffering. So very exciting. Okay. So now let me go and look at the chat. We are at, I got 15 minutes to look at the chat. But again, for those of you who are here late, if my hair looks a little funkier than usual, it's because I'm going to do my hair test. I'm letting it grow out to do my hair test. And I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, this is like looking, but, and I may, one of the things I've been trying to work on or trying to figure out is how to get the new hair I have up on the top of my head to darken. Because as I learned, new hair tends to come in, like especially as you're older, it tends to come in really light. It can be almost transparent in color. So that doesn't really help. You know, you're regrowing hair, but it's transparent. You can see right through it. It's like, that's not very helpful. So anyway, with the new nickel revelations and white hair or melanin and the color of it, I'm hoping that what I see in the mirror right now is literally happening, because I feel like I can see it starting to darken in the new hairs up there. So it's very exciting. And yeah. Let's see where we're going to go. Oh, the chat. Let me find the chat. What did you say, Joe? Oh, Joe posted nickel affects neprilysin, which inhibits GLP-1. So let me just say something about peptides that I may have said this before. I don't remember. But many of you know about the kind of idea that, well, transhumanism, you know, where they want to incorporate us with machines, put machines into us, make us part of them, make them part of us. One of the concepts, so when I think about peptides, somebody kind of brought up this idea. She's an intelligent lady, but she's totally off her rocker thinking that copper's good. So she's right on things and she's wrong on things. She's very wrong on copper. And she's starting to, the longer she goes, the more I'm seeing the, what's it called when you have the white above and below the eyes? You know, the thing, you know, you guys, from macrobiotics, you guys know the white above and below the eyes. Anyway, forget what that's called. She's getting more and more of that. Why is it the people on the internet who actually put their faces on the internet, who push copper all the time, look worse and worse and worse and worse over time? Saladino is one of them. He just keeps looking worse. He looks more skinny, more frail, more red. Like, watch these people. All these people who push copper and who push vitamin A, they just look worse and worse and worse. So anyway, don't do, I think peptides, back to the topic that I was about to say. Peptides are the idea that we can change, we can modify parts of ourselves, right? We can just, you give yourself a shot for this, you spray it up your nose for this. Take retatrutide for weight loss. They're training you to put new parts on yourself. Do you understand? Oh, you got a shoulder injury? Oh, do the Wolverine protocol. Do these 2 peptides. Oh, you got this? Do these peptides. They're literally training you. Probably with like nanoparticle craziness inside those. They're research chemicals. Nobody's checking them. Do you think that's probably on purpose? Who is using peptides? Well, generally, probably the more fitness and health interested conservative types. Gosh, who do they not like? Who could they get to poison themselves? And could people who report amazing things on peptides simply be placebo? Of course. Of course. Do you not understand the healing power of the mind? So if you believe that this thing you're injecting in you that you ordered from China, that's where they all come from, China or India. They're all coming from the same places. You're not buying some company's magical peptides that are better than another's. You're buying the same crap that everybody else is buying. And you're trying to modify various parts of you. So next thing you know, you'll have a brain chip. And next thing you know, you'll have a robot hand like Luke Skywalker. Because you've trained yourself into fixing your parts with new parts. So that's my rant on peptides. Sketchy. They are so sketchy. And did I experiment with them so I knew about them? Yes. And am I going to touch them anymore? No. Done. I experimented with them before because I wanted to know for everybody, right? And it was before I had thought about them in this way. And now that I think about them in this way, I go, yeah, this is basically the slow walk of the transhumanism agenda, just to train us. It's like training you with all the beeps in your car. Car beeps when you do this. Oh, I better not do that. Beeps when you do this. Oh, I better not do that. It's like the clicker for dogs. They're training you. So, yeah. Okay, so now let's go look at the chat. Oh, wait, where'd it go? There it is. Let me move this over so I can see it without looking over. Collagen. Oh, I just saw Lisa's comment. Collagen peptides. I don't know if you guys know this, but I don't know which corporation, Joe, if you want to look it up, some huge corporation bought Vital Proteins collagen, the collagen that's in Costco. I don't know if it's Nestle. It's something like close to or as bad as Nestle. And Kelsey's had concerns a long time about collagen containing lots of copper. I was doing some research and finding that like nickel in the lungs will cause a lot of fibrosis, which is the formation of collagen. So nickel seems to stimulate collagen formation. I don't trust collagen. Collagen makes it so I can't sleep. And I do absolutely believe that my nickel toxicity is still related to sleep. So I don't touch collagen, and Kelsey doesn't touch collagen either. If you choose to mess with it, go ahead. Most of the time, if you want to mess around with something like collagen, the main thing that collagen brings is glycine, the amino acid glycine. If you choose to experiment with more glycine, you can experiment with up to 8 grams a day of additional glycine in your diet. Oh yeah, Nestle did buy Vital Proteins. So Nestle, folks, anything at Costco, you should be extremely suspicious of. Yes, Costco has some good things, but you should early on be suspicious. Like if they're selling a bunch of collagen at Costco, you should go, why? And then we find out Nestle bought Vital Proteins. Everything Nestle makes is pretty much guaranteed to be toxic, like contain toxic stuff. They are part of the plan. So, collagen peptides, collagen peptides just means peptides is just short proteins. Like, so gelatin is like, what is it? Dipeptides and tripeptides. Collagen peptides is just gelatin broken down. I don't trust it. I can't sleep on it. I don't do well with glycine either. I don't take extra glycine. I don't like glycine. I don't like collagen. I don't like gelatin. So up to you on collagen. I don't want it. Okay. So let me hit on this first one. Ray Love 33 put it here. Wondering if going low nickel will cause nickel to exit the body, hence causing more gray hair in the meantime, kind of like Dr. G's teeth initially turning some yellowish while detoxing vitamin A. It's possible, but the nickel seems to come out so fast that I haven't seen it in me. I haven't seen that happening, but maybe it did. Could it happen? Sure. But would it then go away as you get rid of it? Yes. Yeah. So, okay, Luca 19955 says, I've been doing some research as I am following a low nickel diet and going through some rough symptoms. I'm telling you guys, you don't have to start right away. You can wait for me to have the plan, especially seasonal allergies during tree pollen season, which I hadn't had for many years. Actually, one thing the other day, like I said, I'm still going through it. My symptoms are way down from what I've been working on, and I've been doing it, over a month, like 5 weeks now. But the other day, Kelsey was like, you sound like sneezy. You sound like you're kind of allergies, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I've been having the symptom that came back, which I used to have seasonal allergies, but one of the things that came back in the mornings is this like tingly, itchy feeling on the inside of my nose. I used to wake up most mornings with it, have this tingly, I would sneeze like several times, and then most of the day it would be gone. And I had that kind of come back. And actually I thought about it a little bit this morning, noticed it a little bit this morning, and it's all gone again. So it's already on its way out. So this old symptom came back. Like, you will have retracing on this. You may have new symptoms pop up for a little bit, but most likely you're going to see your old symptoms, which is where the nickel is deposited. And when the nickel comes out of there, you're going to have those symptoms again. Like I've told you guys a lot about like my prostate issues that started in my 20s. I had one night a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago during the detox where I woke up 5 times to pee. And I was, as we all might do, we're like, oh, is this again? Like, am I getting worse? What's going on? And then it went down the next night, and then it went down again. And then, yeah. So this is very real. This is the realest detox you're ever going to go through. And as you just saw, I showed you research showing that symptoms get worse as you detox. Okay. Lucas said, continuing, I read that in cities, trees absorb more nickel from underground water and rainwater polluted with nickel. And if you're already detoxing nickel, if you are already detoxing nickel, and if you don't eliminate it fast enough, though, through urine with tons of water, it may lead to excess nickel in the system. And, oh, sorry, Joe, you wanted me to show those. Sorry about that. And cause allergic type symptoms, dumping symptoms from inhaling even more nickel contained in tree pollen. I mean, I don't know. But again, like, okay, so here's the thing. You can get an air filter. You could filter out the pollen if there's literally nickel in the air, in the tree pollen, and that's causing you an irritation. Okay. However, for the most part, okay, I was going to go over this next episode, but literally nickel is in the persistent contrails up in the sky. The persistent contrails. There's nickel in them. There was nickel in the coof pokey. Literally been shown in like, I think 60% of the brands of the coof pokey, nickel was in them. It's part of the plan. But what I'm getting at is if there is stuff falling down from the sky, whether it's pollen or whether it's persistent contrails, you can't stop that. I mean, you could try as hard as you can, but you're going to go outside and breathe the air. And as you become less nickel toxic, you react to it less and you can get rid of it faster. So what I'm going to say again is it's like the food and the water. And then you work on the cookware. I mean, you can work on the cookware is the easiest thing to work on. Like you can fix that in one Amazon order, right? So that's easy to fix. It's the foods and the water, the water in the pipes, the water, supply. Like Kelsey's water has some extra nickel in it, higher than the European standard of nickel. So we're working on a filter for that. I'm getting the filter. So here's our plans. Like, this is how seriously we're taking this. I ordered Kelsey a water tester for nickel. It only tests for nickel. It's $600 to just test water for nickel. So we can test. She can test whatever nickel, whatever water source she wants to test. We're not sure if you can do it for urine. And we're not going to start a lab to test urine nickel. But anyway, we're going to test the lake water up there. We're going to test the well water. We're going to test the water in town. We're going to test all of it. Anything we choose for nickel, I'm going to get the water filter system up there that claims it may reduce nickel in the water by 99.9%. And we're going to test it. And if that does work, I'm probably going to have the person from the company, their education person, I'll have them on the live stream and we'll go over it. So that company, I have not got their stuff yet. Kelsey got their water filter, their shower filter, the shower filter for now. I'm working on getting their actual big filter set. I mean, it's like $2,200. So it's not just like, hey, but yeah, so we'll get it. We'll test the well water before it goes in. We'll test the water after it comes out. And if it works, we will let you know. If you guys decide you want to go and look into their stuff, it's Sante for Health, SANTE for health.com. And they have all sorts of water filters there. I'm really excited to fix the water up there. Because I do believe, and once you learn about nickel toxicity, I do believe I got nickeled from her well water. I took a bath up there and I sat in the bath for a long time and I felt terrible after it. I went in the lake up there. I was in the lake for hours and I felt terrible after that. And I started going, well, it makes sense if it's in the well water here. It's probably in the rocks, which means it's in the lake. So now I know what getting nickeled's like. And I could never figure out why I felt so bad. And I'm like, what is in that lake? And now we're figuring it out. And as you get less nickel toxic, you will be less sensitive, which is what we've always wanted, right? We don't want it. We want to be sensitive. We want to notice things, but we also don't want to be overly sensitive. So, okay. Eliza said, woohoo, Smith streak. Yes, we're not going to break the streak. Baptized in Fires here. He's still kicking. That's great. Eliza said, God bless you and your family, and Joe and everyone in the chat. Yes. God bless you all. Like, I have been praying for solutions to this stuff and they are coming. So always remember, praying for solutions, in my opinion, is the thing that works the best, because God helps those who help themselves. So if you pray for solutions to come, the solutions get presented. You decide whether you take them or not. You help yourself, which is how God helps you. So that's my thing there. Baptized in Fire says, as long as it's real etymology and not David Icke rhyming nonsense. Yeah. The rhyming stuff, or like the one going around IG where it, like night as in dark as night. That's a hilarious one. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So Eliza said, straight fire information. Love this etymology issue started with. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, we're on the right track. We are on the right track. Oh, okay. Who said the collagen? Hold on, let me see that. Who said well, somebody said they also add more nickel to the collagen because they digest the collagen in stainless steel in acid. Where does Kelsey, did you post that? Kelsey said, okay, cool. There she is. Let me see. Can we, Joe, do I click the show comment? Oh, Joe, I'm not, okay. I got to look at the other chat. I got to look at the chat that's in Streamlabs, right? To do that. So not the YouTube one. Okay. So I got to get on the right one. I don't know if that'll happen today. So anyway, wow. Kelsey's been commenting a lot today. Kelsey's been feeling a lot better. It's really been fun to watch. And so, yeah, that's been awesome. Lisa B said, I'm pretty much white. I also have white hair. LOL. Yeah. Okay. CPG said, I did turkey 1 meal a day for 10 days as a liver optimization approach. And then when I reintroduced coffee, boom, bile payload. Ha ha ha. Yes. Yeah. If you don't have a reason to dump bile, your body doesn't really do it. This is why people feel so much better when they're fasting. They're not dumping bile. And if you're eating turkey with like 0 fat, there's not a lot of reason to dump bile. And then coffee will definitely do it. Yes. Okay. Lisa asked, what cookware is toxic? Generally, we used to recommend stainless steel. Lisa, there is the Homichef, HOMICHEF, is what's called 21/0 stainless steel, which is, it's got a little more chromium in it, but the 0 at the end means no nickel. So when you look at stainless steel, there's like 18/10, 18/8, that's 10% nickel, 8% nickel. There's 18/0, which is 0% nickel, but apparently 18/0 corrodes a lot faster. So the Home Chef is what we're after. And if you don't take care of the Home Chef the way they say to, folks, it may get like stained. Oh no, my cooking utensil doesn't look perfectly shiny. Oh no. Like if that's a problem for you, I don't know what you're going to have to take care of the pans. If you're just going to wash them like normal pans, which they don't normally do, then they may get a little stain to, cooking stains to them. Okay. I don't care. I would rather be healthy and have stained pans than be ingesting nickel unnecessarily. So that's that. Okay, so Luca said, what I'm doing for now until the antidotes videos is the more zinc I do, the more water I do, and the symptoms go away in an hour. Ate a high zinc meal, and then I dumped hard, drank 3 liters of water, symptoms gone. I will try that. I've heard people say, I don't know if it was you, Luca, who said in the previous episode about water was like the big antidote. Somebody said that water was the big antidote for them. I don't know. I mean, I have not tried 3 liters of water. Like that's a lot. We don't need people getting like water intoxication and electrolyte dilution too bad. But for those of you who have been doing the low nickel diet and you're kind of detoxing rough, and maybe you know that you could drink more water, or you're willing to try it as something to see if it can work. I mean, I'm not against more water. So, let's see. Joe's been studying the heck out of white sweet potatoes. Yeah, Soil Food Web Warrior said stainless steel cookware has nickel, which leaches into food at a higher rate with heat on acidic foods or water. Well, yeah, water is going to be in all foods you cook pretty much on stainless steel. But yeah, the things so you want to think of with stainless steel, if it's got nickel in it, you don't have to avoid these things like completely forever, but if these are the things that would make it worse. So if you have stainless steel with nickel in it, the heat, so the higher the heat, the more, like any chemical reaction, the more heat you have, the faster and stronger it goes. So more heat, longer cooking time, the longer it's exposed, or if you store things in stainless steel, even in your fridge, the longer it's touching it, the more it can leach. So if you leave your stainless steel water bottle in your car, it's going to get hot. It's going to leach. And it's just time. So you got time and heat. And then the more acidic whatever you put in the stainless steel, the more it will tend to leach. Where is that important? Well, one of the things that I've constantly said is I like the AquaTrue reverse osmosis system because it doesn't make the water more acidic. Whereas other RO systems do tend to make the water more acidic because they are literally taking out the minerals. Minerals tend to be alkaline. It's taking out the bad minerals and it's also taking out the good minerals. So it leaves the water a bit more acidic. So water out of a normal RO system, a typical RO system, is going to be slightly more acidic than if you use the AquaTrue. So those are the things that, like the cooking things. And hopefully you're out there, if you're doing a low vitamin A approach, you're not eating acidic tomatoes in cooking them in stainless steel. And just for anybody who's thinking it, no, I'm not recommending cast iron now. I don't recommend people eat iron shavings. Like literally, think about this. If it is true, which the research says it is, if you cook in iron, cast iron, and it raises people's iron levels. Okay. How is the iron getting from the pan into the food? Well, it's either dissolving, like from acidic things, which they say don't cook acidic things in cast iron because you'll get a ton of whatever the pan is made of, cast iron, and or it's coming from scrapings. Like literally, as you're scraping the pan, you are scraping off little iron shavings. So you're either eating dissolved iron or you're eating iron shavings. What makes iron rust? Heat, light, air, moisture. So you're literally eating pretty much rust. from a cast iron pan. I'm not going to recommend that. If you're eating muscle meat, you have plenty of iron in your diet. If you're iron deficiency anemic, you're nickel toxic is my bet. And the longer you stay iron deficiency anemic, the more nickel you absorb from your food. This is probably another reason why women tend to get more nickel toxic, is because with women's periods, they often get, if they're too heavy, let's say copper toxicity and nickel toxicity made them bleed too much, then they get iron deficiency anemic, and then the same transporter that grabs onto iron in the gut, it upregulates, it tries to become more active. The problem is it grabs onto nickel too. So then you start grabbing more and more nickel instead of you're grabbing iron, but you're grabbing more and more nickel. So don't want to do that. Okay. Sam Jones said the glass air fryer is very good and very easy to clean. I just heard Beth Martins recommend the glass air fryer too. So if you guys want to go and look, glass air fryers, those are totally an option. I'm still using, we use the toaster oven that has an air fryer setting on it. And I normally don't cook things on the rails in it. I cook them on a ceramic plate. So, let's see. Just Andy said malic acid chelates nickel. Just Andy, if you have research on that, I would love to see it. I'm not saying I disagree. I think malic acid is amazing, but if you have research evidence of that, or copper, what we can find is malic acid or malate helping grab copper out of soil or out of the water. I think I remember that properly, but we can't find it in humans. Well, which we don't have to have. People are doing much better on potassium malate than they are on some of the other potassiums that we've used. So that's good. Okay. Oh yeah. Kelsey saw my the periodic table of the elements that has the little, supposedly the actual elements, little pieces of them in there. I don't know if I believe that or not, but anyway, I know Kelsey wanted one, and I didn't end up getting it for her. Kelsey, my brother had that. My brother got it and he gave it to me, and he put it there, and I just left it there. So yeah, it is. That's why she put that emoji at the end. Oh yeah, Kelsey was saying I got an ear cartridge piercing to be cool when I was a teenager, but it wasn't that cool that it was always crusty and smelled funny. So you've been nickel toxic for a long time. I'm sitting there going, like, again, folks, if you ever had braces, you're nickel toxic. You have been for a very long time. Yeah, Kelsey's adding some things that we already used. MSG is helpful. Niacin is helpful. MCP, pectin. We have the tools. Yes. Kelsey said going too low. Everything I could think of low nickel all at once kicked her butt, but she's not afraid to admit that. Yeah, I did the same. And because I was out here saying, I think I was telling people in like office hours that I didn't think the nickel detox was much of anything. I thought it just came out. And now all of a sudden I was like, oh, I was completely wrong about that because I was looking at normies who went low nickel. I was not looking at love your liver people who went low nickel. As you guys have heard me say this before, like we synergize so many things from so many angles. I'm kind of good at that, like looking at all the different angles, or as many as possible, or as many as are useful and practical. We could say that. And then when we do them all, it can be a real ass kicker, as many of you know, because we're hitting things from multiple angles. And so if we reduce the toxin coming in and we increase the nutrients that help kick it out, then all of a sudden, things blow up. RGAM XRP says he's new here, or they are new here. Can you list the foods that are low in nickel? Go back to episode 246. And there's a doc in the info box below the video. There's a whole, there's my suggested low nickel diet, and you don't have to do it all at once. Okay, let me tell you something, folks. Like, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be honest here. My mom saw Edison and I, my buddy, go through the worst parts of the low nickel detox. Like Edis is my mom's personal trainer. He's a buddy of mine, and I bounce ideas off of him. He follows my, instructions, and it's super helpful to have him around because he feels space weather at the same time that I do. It's really crazy to be able to text somebody and say, how you feeling? They're like, I don't feel so good right now. And you're like, yeah, I started feeling bad. Was it about a half hour ago? And you're like, yeah. And it's like, helps you not feel crazy. So anyway, my mom saw us go through the low nickel, the worst detox parts of it. And I was like, Mom, I think this could really help you. And she's like, I don't want to do that. I saw what you guys went through. And I'm like, dang it. So like, I've already been thinking about what we're going to do if and when she's okay with it. First, we're going to get her set on the antidotes. This is going to be the plan, folks, from here on out. If you don't want to start the low nickel diet yet, just wait. But I know a lot of you are probably anxious now and you're like, I got to do this now. I don't want to wait, because you feel like you're eating things that aren't good for you now. And I know it's a rough limbo to be in. But you could reduce something like what I was saying was, we're going to get my mom set on some of the antidotes and get her rolling on those. And we're already doing that. And she's already saying she's feeling better. And then like, okay, she had been eating some whole grain bread with like nuts and seeds in it. Because, I mean, she's 80. I'm going to let her eat the bread. I was going to let her eat the bread that she wanted. And she was putting sunflower seed butter on it. If you don't know, sunflowers suck up nickel from the soil really well. Sunflowers are used to remediate toxic soil. That's not good. So I'm like, okay, the first thing we got to do is get rid of the toast in the morning with the sunflower butter on it. I didn't think it was a big problem before. Now I'm going, this is a huge thing. Like, she might start detoxing just from taking the toast out. But we're going to have her set up. So it was really cool to see her saying she was improving just from some of the initial stuff we were doing. Okay. Eliza said, since you're mentioning dairy, one day I'd love for you to dig into the GMO, rennet, enzyme takeover, and solutions / suggestions, etc. Okay. Some people already out there, they don't like me or people like me because we're saying the food is poison. And they're just like, go and eat what your grandpa ate. And I'm like, they're ruining that. And you've inherited the problems that your grandparents gave you too. Like the nickel hand me down. So the bad guys are literally trying to make it so there's nothing left to eat. That's their goal. That's literally their goal. And then they're going to take away the animal-based foods. So, right, they're going to make it so that all the, as many of the plant foods as possible are toxic, with the nickel is in the fertilizers and the copper sulfate is the pesticide. The plant foods are easy to poison. And then they're going to take away the animal foods and make you eat a high vitamin A, high oxalate, high copper, high nickel diet. That's their goal. How are you going to get around that? I mean, I don't know. We're trying to do it right now. We're getting people better. People can obsess about like the little things. Like, people can find no end to the minutia to obsess about. The toxic metals, especially, and then some of the organics, like vitamin A is an organic toxin. The metals are the biggest one. That's why we're finding now that nickel is like Accutane can cause nickel sensitivity. And I think nickel makes the vitamin A problem worse. So they feed off of each other. And people have gotten rid of problems that we used to tend to think were mainly vitamin A, like eczema, by just going low nickel. So again, you go low nickel and it can make you more tolerant of vitamin A. What we're trying to do first is, before we worry about the minutia of like every little thing that they could do to dairy, every little thing that they could do to fruit, every little thing that they could do to these things, we need to focus on the big rocks. As that rocks in the jar analogy, Like, we need to focus on the big rocks. I can't have, like, people got to eat. People cannot just go into the grocery store and look around and go, I can't eat anything here. Like, then they starve. Then their kids starve. That's not the goal here. So yes, there's plenty of minutia that we could cover. That's not really my thing. We see tons of improvement with the big rocks, which is how it should be. Our bodies do detox. We just need to give it, you take out the biggest detox problems, and then the body has a lot more breathing room to work on the small little things. Okay. So yeah. Let's see. Dylan was saying nickel's found in tattoo ink. Oh, tattoos and toxicity go together. We're finding that there's like, people are kind of realizing now that they're addicted to high nickel foods. Remember, people don't get addicted to healthy things. Not addicted. They get addicted to toxic things. Chocolate's the biggest one. So, let's see. Okay, still looking. Hamza asks, is dry fruit high in nickel too? Well, I mean, dry fruit. So here's the thing about pretty much dried anything is it's not more like a grape that you dry has the same amount of nickel as the original grape. But how easy is it? Like, how many grapes are in a handful of actual grapes and how many grapes are in a handful of raisins? So people just tend to eat, if you look at the equivalent, if you say 100 grams of grapes and 100 grams of raisins, 100 grams of raisins is a lot more grapes. So that's where with some of this nickel stuff, if you're choosing to eat, certain foods, you do have to look at, there's the concentration that's in it, and then you have to look at the amount. How much are you actually eating? Like, if you're eating handfuls of grapes, that might turn into a nickel. I mean, couldn't technically any food that has any nickel in it turn into a problem if you consume enough of it? Yeah. It's like water can kill you if you drink enough of it. So yeah, nickel it could be an issue. I haven't looked into it. I never liked grapes. I mean, I eat them, but it was one of those things, a lot of us have foods like this where you buy them and they just sit in the fridge until they're basically bad, or they're going to go bad, and then you force yourself to eat them. And I was like, I don't like being forced to eat the grapes because they're going to go bad. And if I didn't eat them for weeks, every time I'd buy them, I just stopped buying them. Like, so, okay. Let's see. Oh yeah. Kelsey was saying the only other major person talking about nickel is recommending organ meats. Yes. Watch out for that. Watch out for that low nickel PDF, that low nickel diet PDF. Let's see. Yeah, Kelsey, I want to see that. When you have that study, she said they literally gave MSG by IV during open heart surgery. If Kelsey says that, she has a study on that. And she told me about it, and I was like, can you get that for me? And she was like, yeah, no problem. I think we just forgot. We might have gotten distracted. Let's see. Oh, MSG was in, I didn't go over this yet, but one of the studies that Kelsey had that was part of the copper toxicity stuff, and it helped, I think she has it helping with nickel, was MSG was literally in the bioprotector complex that these Russian researchers were using. Yeah. And so here's good news, bad news for you folks. Let's say you're sensitive to MSG. I think that's a sign you're really nickel toxic. I think the MSG is like inducing a dump. And that's why you don't feel good on it. So as you get less nickel toxic, we've already seen it. People are tolerating their zinc better. People are tolerating things that the MSG better. Like, people are tolerating things as we've seen before. we were already seeing it where people do the Love Your Liver program and they tolerate things better. Now we're seeing it with the zinc. We're seeing it with the MSG. The nickel thing is a really big deal. So zinc could stir up copper, yes, but it's probably stirring up nickel first. Okay. Let's see. Fabuladium said they switched to a glass frying pan. Oh, thank you, Kelsey. It was Sanpaku. Sanpaku is the when you can see the whites of the eyes above and below the eyes. And yes, the person Renwell MD, RENWELL MD on Instagram. I saw her at first and she was talking about peptides and creatine and she was saying things that made sense to me. And then she started getting into all of your problems are from low conductivity, from not enough copper. And I was like, okay, now I'm out. And she's really, on the underweight side. And I got the Sanpaku going on both sides of the eyes, which is like, that's real crazy right there. So I was kind of like, okay, we're done. Okay. Somebody asked, are beans and oats high in nickel? Generally, yes. That's what we're talking about now. That was the thing I didn't realize. Let's see. Oh, wow. Glenn says, did you see Medicine Girl's latest hit piece on Dr. Smith? She used an old photo as an example of how bad he looks. Wow. Hi. Hey, Medicine Girl. That's cheap and dirty. Wow. She's controlled op. She is a controlled op. Yeah, when you get sick, just drink spring water and rest. That'll do it. And then I believe she pushes herbs too. So, wow. Did I hurt your feelings, Medicine Girl? Got to do dishonest things. I didn't post any picture of you in my video because I didn't need to, because your information sucked. Your information literally sucked ass. Anyway. We're making inroads, folks, that the controlled oppos have to come after me now. All right. It's about vitamin A. Let her keep her vitamin A. I mean, she looks kind of angry to me. When I see her, she looks like she's like this all the time. She looks angry. Why would she look angry? I don't know. We could probably figure it out. So, anyway. Kelsey wants to go and find Medicine Girl's article now. Let me see. Oh, Baptism Fire said, thanks, Dr. Smith, for being the only doctor that ever seemed to care for that. I live or die. I'm an under, so everyone already hates me for that. I'm only 1%, so I can go die was the message. He said, I deeply appreciate you showing care. Under types, I mean, yeah, well, you're welcome. You are very welcome. Yeah, Medicine Girl. I mean, people can go and follow her, I guess, I can. She's going to talk about vitamin A. I mean, all the vitamin A lovers, they're going to do that, which is hilarious that she would defend vitamin A and then be anti-magnesium. Does that sound like a controlled op to you? Like literally against a mineral that's known to be in 300, maybe 400 reactions in the human body, and then to be pro vitamin A and say I'm wrong on vitamin A. That's what they're gonna do. Like, and what we've seen. So just so you know, do I need to go and retaliate against her? I don't think so, because people find out about me from them. The Streisand effect. You know how many people have come to this work because of other people talking smack about me? and this stuff on vitamin A, and they're like, well, wait, she's talking about this guy, and this guy says vitamin A is bad. And that's one thing I haven't done yet. So maybe I'll go look into it. So I'm not totally against people coming after me. That's people who come to us are the people, like Baptized in Fire is saying, people who come to us are the people who have been failed by or rejected by or ignored by or worsened by everyone else out there with their trash advice. So, yeah, so I just kind of let them do it. Let Medicine Girl, she has her bunch of sycophants in the comments and all that stuff. So let her have them. She can, do whatever. So, okay, Fernando Espin, thank you for the super chat. My zeolite dosage has been creeping up from 5 to 15 scoops. That's a lot. Any ideas why? Haven't been pushing detox that hard. Also, sleep has been a bit hit or miss. Well, see, Fernando, you'd have to say why your dose has been creeping up. Like there has to be a reason that you've decided to continue ramping it. So if you want to answer that, then we can work on it. You feel better when you take more. Okay, well that's something. That's kind of going along with the zeolite dosing paradox where people feel bad if they don't take enough, and then they feel better if they take more. 15 scoops a day is a lot. That's a lot. Not like it's dangerous or anything. It's just it gets expensive. We know that. That gets pricey. There has been. Are you doing any of the low nickel stuff? You just started? Okay. Well, what is just started mean compared to the nickel, like the zeolite creeping up and the low nickel diet starting? Mostly took out beans and psyllium. Well, that's enough to do it. We had one lady. Here's the power of the low nickel diet. We had one lady fix her water supply, and she started both detoxing, and her tremor went away within like 4 days. I think it may come back during the detox, but then it'll go away for good. We also had somebody tell us that their hemorrhoid went away within 2 days of going low nickel. I've heard of people's GERD going away within days or a week of doing low nickel that had been there for decades. So just know your problems can go away quick, but also the detox can be pretty rough. Zeolite is really good at a lot of toxic metals. It's not the champ at nickel though. It's not the champ. Am I still using it? Am I still recommending it? Yeah, absolutely. It's just not the go-to for like the low nickel phase. Yeah. So yeah, I would just, like Fernando, if your body was saying, if you're saying you feel better when you take it because, if you're on the low nickel now and it's helping somewhat with that, then that is something. If you're taking that much and you just feel better doing that, then you just have to decide if it's worth it. Is there a particular reason why you feel like it's going up that much? I mean, if you're feeling bad for other reasons that, we may not know about, there was just the full moon is tonight, just so you guys know. And for me, the night before the full moon is the worst of the effect of the moon on my sleep, let's say. So yeah, that was last night. But if there's other things going on that are making you feel bad, and that might be why the zeolite is going up, even though you may not be pushing detox too hard, then I guess it's really just up to you if you want to take that much. Again, if you feel good doing something like that, there is no problem with taking that much. It's just the price really is the big thing. And the low nickel diet may be contributing. You may be having some detox symptoms, and then you're feeling better with more zeolite. And like I said, zeolite is not the champ of nickel detox. So you may be finding that much is helping you to feel better. And it's just a side effect of the low nickel dumping right now. So, Radomir said the moon is not natural. I never said the moon is natural, but the patterns with it are real, and I feel them, other people feel them. It's in the research. So yeah, whether or not the sun is a light bulb, or the moon is real, or there's a core of the earth, or the shape of the earth, or all that stuff, I mainly go by what is affecting people, because I can't go and change those things. And whether I know it's a LED light bulb that they switched out in 2012, or I don't know. I just don't have time for that. It doesn't help advance the cause at all. So, and I mean, people will say, well, you got to tell people the shape of the earth because it's the whole foundation of all truth and all that stuff. And I go, I already don't believe in all this stuff. I don't, like, the shape of the earth doesn't change me trusting. Are we in a matrix? Are we in an AI simulation right now? I don't know. It's all just a game. Life is but a schoolhouse in a game. And God is at the top of all of it. Yes. So why it all happens, I'll never know. Anyway, Joe, let's wrap this up. So Hamza said, so semolina is a no on the low nickel diet. There are cream of wheat. That was the other one that Kelsey found. Cream of wheat is okay if you can get it unfortified. If you do a search, however you choose to do your search, there is unfortified semolina out there. I think they called it white farina or something semolina. Generally the yellow semolina is going to have more carotenoids in it than other stuff. So, okay. So Joe's putting up the links now. We got YouTube. Here we are on YouTube. You may be watching this on Rumble, but we are here on YouTube at Nutrition Detective. Generally, you can find us at Nutrition Detective all over the internet. There's our Rumble channel. If you want to watch all the episodes completely unedited, and I think it's number 198 that was taken off of YouTube, you can go to Rumble to watch those. So there's that. Then I am on Twitter, x.com/NutriDetect. I'm not super active on Twitter. We are posting our shorts and whatever they call them on Twitter, shorts and reels and whatever. We are posting them there. So if you're there, that'll be there, but don't think that I'm hanging around that place anymore. It's too negative. Facebook, there's us. I'm definitely not posting my opinions on Facebook anymore. Boy, that ended a long time ago. The Reviv mouthguard, for those of you who heard the testimonial on the Reviv mouthguard, there's the link to use. Use that code detective, and that'll get you 10% off the Reviv. Remember, when you go there and you see the two options, there's an option with the support and there's an option for just the mouthguard. So there's a significant price difference between the two. So just pick the one that you want. The support can be very helpful. If you're worried about your teeth and your bite and all that stuff, then you may want to go in there and do that. Okay. So, Love Your Liver program. This is the do-it-yourself program. We're going to integrate the low nickel stuff. So for those of you who are here, if you go into the Love Your Liver program now, or you're already in there, you may be going, well, where's the low nickel stuff? I'm working on it. I have to put it all together so I don't put too many things out there that I then have to say, wait, that wasn't quite right. So I'm putting it all together. You guys have already seen, if you go back to 246 and 247, those are the low nickel episodes we've got out already, and including this one. So, but members.nutritiondetective.com, that will be the first place that the written down stuff for the low nickel, the comprehensive program approach will be there. This is madnessofmodernnutrition.com. This is our newsletter. Sign up if you want to get our 17 email series introducing you to kind of my thought process. If you're already here, you probably already kind of get it, that we don't follow the norms, and we get results that are beyond the norms, beyond medicine girls even. Our GLASP, the GLASP is where, so when you see studies that I go through on these videos and they are highlighted, if you go to that GLASP link, you can search all of the highlighted stuff I've done for keywords. So if you wanted to find studies that I've highlighted that are going over nickel, like all of those will be in there. Okay. Lisa, you're welcome for the show. Instagram, that's the.real nutrition detective. And I think, Facebook was that too. The.real nutrition detective. Joe, I don't know if I've given you our TikTok link yet. Have I done that? We are on TikTok. We are going to have, for those of you that this is in process. For those of you who are on TikTok, okay, it's not ready yet, so don't email Julie. Don't go asking around. But we got into the TikTok shop with the magnesium lotion, and soon enough, maybe in a month, we're going to start the affiliate stuff and the influencer stuff there. So if you are on TikTok, just keep an eye out. I'll let you know. But if you want to promote the magnesium lotion on TikTok and get an affiliate chunk, that will be happening. Again, I'll let you know. Don't email questions about it because Julie doesn't know anything more than I've told you. Okay. So there's our Instagram. Eliza said, "You're the best, doc. I always talk you up when I know someone has exhausted the circuit and are ready for real change and self-responsibility." Yeah, that's very important. People don't tend to come to us until they're exhausted, which is sad, but they need to know that everything else sucks because they don't believe it yet. nutritiondetective.com. This is where, that's our main website, nutritiondetective.com. If you want to work with Kelsey, who was there in the comments today, or you want to work with Nathan, they're doing the hair testing and the blood testing. And then they do the consult. We have had a recent change. The office hours is going to a subscription service after now, basically. So it's going to be a separate monthly thing. So you don't have to get it if you don't want it, and you can get it if you do want it. And the value there is immense. Radomir said, "Thank you for everything. I use magnesium oil because of you. Also low vitamin A and copper. You saved my life." Yeah. Yeah, medicine girl, we're not doing anything. We're not saving lives out here. Oh, you should, vitamin A. Go collect your paycheck from some tech guru or whatever. Irritating. Anyway. Thank you all for coming. Maybe medicine girl will be like, "Nickel doesn't exist." Oh no, but it does, but it's not a problem because it's natural. I don't know what the hell she would say about it. Nonsense. Anyway. Okay. That's all we have for today. Hope you all enjoyed that. Hope we found the fix to gray hair today that nobody else has talked about since 1961. Wouldn't that be cool? And then, all the other things about nickel that are coming out. If you want to start doing some of the low nickel, Joe's putting out the toxic bile paradigm. That's the basis of what we're doing. Does nickel fit into toxic bile paradigm? Absolutely. Actually, we're now finding studies that show nickel is in the bile. Kelsey found it. Nickel's in the bile more than anybody ever seemed to talk about. And nickel causes leaky gut, which causes leaky bile, which causes the symptoms. So that you have. So anyway, there's that series. 231 is where it starts. It goes 232 and maybe 233 or 234. Anyway, that's that. And then we have, this was nickel toxicity. We talked about the connection to gray hair, the connection to obesity. We were talking about under types 2 in the animal research on nickel. Weak grip, the big longevity thing. Nickel weakens your grip, which would then supposedly make you not live as long. It's associated with, not correlated with, not living as long. And then we talked about the nickel detox. So if you're going to start on the low nickel dieting stuff, Just start very slow. Just pick one thing for maybe a week or two. Just give me a couple weeks to get you the information to confirm what I'm seeing and to help everybody move forward. I am Dr. Garrett Smith, the nutrition detective. Feel free to go tell Medicine Girl how you feel about her opinions if you want to. I knew she was going to come back at me. It's kind of like when Grant came back at me. Sad. Anyway, okay. Hope you all have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. I don't know what the topic's going to be, but I'm sure it'll be something good. Bye now.